Okay, here's the thing. So YouTube is hard. We know that going in. You know it. I know it. Everybody who has ever had a YouTube channel knows that YouTube is hard. That is not the surprising thing. The surprising thing is there is one thing that actually makes it so much worse, and it's a thing that I am absolutely doing to myself. I am the problem. I am the reason why this is happening, not anybody else, not any other thing that's doing it. It's me. And I know that I shouldn't. I know that I shouldn't keep doing this thing, and yet I continue to do it. So we're going to talk about that in this video because if I don't stop doing it, then here's what's going to happen. Not only is it going to affect my channel, my growth, all of those things, but it negatively impacts my mental health. And not only me, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who does this thing. So, let's talk about it today so that hopefully you can get some help and I can get some help and we can stop doing this freaking disastrous thing that wrecks our channel from the very beginning. I mean, obviously, there are enough things that we need to worry about when it comes to YouTube. There are enough things that make YouTube hard all on its own. Like, for example, I mean, there's a pretty steep learning curve when it comes to YouTube. You got to figure out like lighting and sound and cameras and editing and all of those different things. And storytelling and script writing and all of those things that go into it. That alone makes YouTube kind of hard. I mean, just being blunt about it. And then that's not the only thing. Then you got to talk about consistency. You have to talk about showing up on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, whatever, and continuing that process, even when maybe your views and your subscriber count and all of those different number metrics don't necessarily help you with that because they tend to make you want to not do it. But that's probably a huge challenge, or it's not probably, it absolutely is a huge challenge when it comes to YouTube. It's one of the things that makes it so hard. The algorithm itself is completely how do I say it? It's unpredictable at times. Like, I don't understand when I get views and when I don't. And more often than not, every time I put up a video, I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. And more often than not, here lately, it's not gone well. But you don't know what's going to happen with the algorithm and where that's going to take you. And so that makes it very, very difficult. It's mentally taxing and all of these different things. When I was thinking this week about this thing that I'm doing, and I'm going to get to it in a second, I promise. But when I was thinking about it this week, the story that came to my mind is the one about the Chinese bamboo tree. And you've probably heard this. A lot of people use this as kind of an analogy or an illustration when it comes to YouTube. And it's a really good one, actually. See, the Chinese bamboo tree, the seed for that tree is so hard and so dense that when you plant it in the ground, nothing happens for 5 years. Like, nothing sprouts, nothing does anything. It just sits in the ground, underground, with nothing to show for it. Like, if you're the gardener and you're the person who's like watering it and fertilizing it and doing all of those things, you're seeing absolutely no results from that planting and from your efforts and from your watering and your fertilizing for 5 years. But when 5 years are done, after that fifth year or during that fifth year, that tree starts to grow at an astronomical rate. In fact, it grows about 1 inch every 40 minutes. It'll grow like, what is it? It's 3 feet per day, looking at my notes, and it grows up to 90 feet in the first month. After 5 years, it did nothing. And then all of a sudden it skyrockets. And that's why a lot of people use this as an analogy when they're talking about YouTube, because it's kind of like that. Like, you can go a long time getting very few views and seeing very few results and not really seeing the fruits of your labor, really. But then one day, that's the kind of the hope that everybody has, like in the back of their mind or whatever, is that one day it's going to skyrocket and it's going to shoot up 90 feet in a month's time. For me, though, I started thinking about the seed because that's the way my mind works. I started thinking, well, what about that seed, though? Like, imagine, and I know I'm humanizing a seed, but humanize the seed with me for a second and think about what that seed must be thinking. Like, all it's thinking is, okay, I got buried underground. Okay, great. I'm finally going to get to be what I was meant to be. I'm going to get to be a bamboo tree. I'm very excited about this. This is amazing. Now what's happening? And it's sitting there in the dark, in the damp, in the, whatever, trying to be a tree, but it can't be a tree yet. And what makes it worse is it's looking around at all the other seeds, and maybe it's seeing other things in the forest or whatever, and all of these other bamboo trees that have already shot up and they're already 90 feet tall, and it's going, man, why can't I be like that tree or that tree, or what? Like, what's the deal? Why can't I be that one? And that's probably what that seed would be thinking if the tree was, or if the seed was a real person like me. It would be thinking those things. And that's what I'm thinking as I sit here and I watch YouTube. And it's the thing that I'm doing to myself is I look at other creators and I look at other people that on the surface have been doing things the same as me or for as long as me or whatever, and they're having so much more success than I am. I mean, there are people, and again, I'm just being transparent and honest, and I hope that that's okay. I'm going to say something here that's probably not nice. There are people that when their videos like pop up on my home screen, and they pop up a lot because I continue to watch them for some reason, but when they pop up on my home screen, literally I can feel my blood pressure rising, and because it makes me angry to a certain degree, and not at them. I don't know them. I don't know anything about these people, but it makes me angry because I know that I've seen their videos. I've watched their videos. I'm going, like, in my mind, I think, okay, well, they're not really doing anything any more groundbreaking or whatever than I'm doing. They're not like so much. Maybe they're better than me. Okay, let's just be straight up about it. But they're not like so much better than me that their numbers should be that much better than me. And I see people that talk about, oh, YouTube is easy, and oh, I got monetized in 2 weeks, or I made $72,000 in one weekend, or whatever. And I see those things, and it's frustrating to me. And not, again, it has nothing to do with those people. I'm sure they're very pleasant people. It's me, and it's because of how I feel about myself and how I compare everything. I've always done this in my entire life. Like, and sometimes it's been a good thing, just being straight up about it. And like in my career, I was always pushing myself to be the best and to be better than my peers and whatever. And that really did go a long way throughout my career. Not lately, as I'm still unemployed right now, but up until that point, it had gone well because my pushing myself by constantly comparing to other people and am I doing better than this person and am I doing better than that person, it helped me to get ahead. And it was actually a good quality trait. But it can also be a very toxic thing if you take it too far and if you don't really do it in the right way. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at on this YouTube journey. Is it's gone to the point of being toxic, not to the point of helping me, but to the point of hurting me. See, when I look at these other folks and I see their success compared to my lack of success, it makes me think like it's demotivating, okay, to me to even keep going and to even continue to do the next video or whatever, because you start looking at it going, well, it's what am I just chasing bad for bad, or I'm doing like the old, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Am I doing that? And every single video that I put up, it's just, oh, well, there's another 15 views. There's another 20 views. It's probably the same 15 to 20 people watching those videos over and over again. And by the way, if you're one of those 15 or 20 people, thank you. I appreciate you. And please don't take my frustration about the difficulty of YouTube like as some kind of negative thing about you, because it's absolutely not. I 100% appreciate you folks. And if you are one of those people, by the way, let me know in the comments down below that you're one of those people that watches these videos, because I don't know. You don't know who those people are and whatever. You know how many subscribers you have. I don't even know all of the subscribers, because the YouTube like stats and all that stuff, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you probably don't know this, but it doesn't show you who everybody is. So I don't even know of the 64 subscribers, or actually I lost a subscriber today, so I'm at 63 subscribers right now. I'm not bitter about that, but whatever. those 63 people, I know that there's 63 people that have subscribed to the channel, but I don't know who they are. I know maybe a handful of them that share, who they subscribe to, but everybody else is just kind of a mystery. So if you're one of those people that has been watching along and seeing these videos, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to say hi to you, and I would love to know who that what's the word, like very loyal audience that is watching these videos, because that's a huge thing. I can see the comparison thing that you start doing, or at least that I start doing. It makes you start to focus on the wrong things, and it makes you start to focus on things like how many views do I have and how many subscribers do I have. That's the wrong metric. That's not what you should be looking at. It should be how much engagement do I have? How much improvement am I making? Am I getting better? Am I doing this in a better way than I was however many months ago when I started this channel? 3 months, I think now at this point, whatever. Am I better now than I was then at sitting down and doing this and having this conversation? Hopefully, I think I am. Maybe you completely disagree with me, but I think I'm getting better at it. But instead of focusing on that stuff, I'm focusing on the wrong things when I'm starting to look at other people, because I'm going, well, why didn't I get that many views? Look at that video. That video is basically the same thing that I'm doing. They're sitting down in front of a camera. They're just talking. They're not editing a whole lot. They're just kind of having a conversation about even the same topic in some cases. They're talking about YouTube growth, and they're talking about, how to get better on YouTube and things like that. But why did they get 3,000 views in the first 6 days, and I'm stuck at 15, or I'm stuck at 20, or whatever? And why do they have all these subscribers and I don't have those subscribers? It makes you start to focus on that instead of the big picture of it. Even worse, it can make you think that you have to start copying other people. Like, it makes you think, oh, well, maybe I need to make a video exactly the same thing that they did, like, or at least the same topic that they did. Or maybe I need to change my personality on camera to be more like theirs, and maybe they have more energy than me, and maybe I need to be high energy, and I need to jump around and do things, and I need to have little squiggly things flying over my head. It makes you think that you have to change who you are, or again, maybe this is just me, but it makes me think that I need to make those changes, when that's not the reality. You don't need to copy anybody else to be successful on YouTube, or at least to do it the right way. And maybe that leans to never being successful, but I think that being like actually yourself and not trying to just sit there and be a copycat version of people who are successful. Like, there are a ton of people out there trying to be the next Mr. Beast, and they do it by trying to act like Mr. Beast, but without the money and without the ability to do all the things that Mr. Beast is able to do because of the money that he's made off of YouTube. And it just comes off as disingenuous. So I don't think that's the way to go. I think that you've got to continue to be true to yourself, and you've got to continue to try to be who you actually are. So it leads me to this. It leads me to what do I do? How do I stop this behavior? How do I stop constantly comparing myself to these other creators and constantly comparing my numbers and my metrics and all of that stuff to everybody else's views and subscribers and blah, 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 blah. So I think there's a couple of things that we can do. And if you're doing this, then, I think hopefully this will be helpful to you as well. These are things that I need to continue to tell myself. And if you're in the same boat, you need to continue to tell yourself. So first and foremost, I think we have to think about what we actually control and not worry about the things that we don't control. So for example, I can control certain things about YouTube. Okay. I can control when I sit down and I have this conversation and I record a video, and I can control when that video goes up and whatever. So I can control my consistency and my, actually doing this and whatever. That's 100% within my control. I can also try to control whether or not I'm improving with each video. Am I getting incrementally better as I go along? I can control that because I can put things into it. I can try to do things with sound to make the sound better, or with video, or with lighting, or with editing, or whatever. I can take steps to try to improve myself. I can't control who watches the video. I can't control the YouTube algorithm and whether or not it's going to give me impressions and whether or not it's going to send this out. I can't control if somebody that thinks they're helping me is clicking on the video and watching it for 3 seconds and hitting the like button and then bailing because they think that it's just about the number and the view and whatever, and that's the only thing that's important. I can't control that. I can't control who clicks the subscribe button. None of those things are within my control. And so why should I like focus on that, and why should I be like constantly thinking about and worried about that? And am I going to get the impressions on this video? Am I going to get the views? Why think about those things when I have absolutely no control over them? So I think that's the first thing, is stop trying to deal with the things that you have no control over. I mean, hell, going back to the Chinese bamboo tree thing and that analogy, think about the gardener, right? Like what can the gardener control? If the gardener is sitting there worried about, okay, well, why isn't this thing, has it been, how long has it been? Is it 2 years? Am I been doing this for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years? When is this thing ever going to grow? No, the gardener focuses on two things. Am I watering the seed that I planted in the ground, and am I fertilizing it? That's pretty much it, right? Like, it can't even really focus on the sun because it can't do anything about whether or not the thing is getting enough light, other than hopefully he planted it in the right spot. He or she planted it in the right spot. But that gardener needs to be focused on the things that he can control, which is the water and the fertilizer. And everything else is up to the, whatever. It's up to the seed. It's up to nature. It's up to God to grow that seed eventually to be the seed that it was meant to be, and to be the tree that's 90 feet tall that it was meant to be. And if the gardener's focused on anything else, then the gardener is going to be probably pretty miserable about his life for the next 5 years, waiting for that stupid seed to actually turn into the tree that he wanted in the first place and the whole reason why he planted it. All right, so the next thing that I think I have to continue to like remind myself is I don't know anybody else's complete story. I know my story. I know everything about my story and everything about my efforts and everything about what I've done in the past, and my first YouTube channel and things that I'm doing here and all that stuff. That stuff I know. For other people, I see what I'm allowed to see, if that makes sense. And so when you see a channel that has like 5 videos total in their entire lifetime, they all came out in the last month, and they're already at like 10,000 subscribers or whatever. Okay, that at the surface can be very demotivating and can make you sad, going, man, how did they get there? And I'm not even anywhere close to that. But what you don't know is all the other stuff that goes on to it. Like, that could be their 20th channel for all you know. They could have a bunch of other channels where they've had tons of success, and they've got, maybe hundreds of thousands of subscribers in these other channels. And then all of a sudden they started this one as like a different thing or a different niche or a different whatever, and told people, hey, if you're interested, come over here. And so they instantly got that. You don't know. Maybe that's what happened. You don't know what kind of help they're getting. You don't know what their funding looks like. You don't know any of that stuff. You're just kind of looking at numbers and comparing yourself as if it were apples to apples, but it's not in most cases. In most cases, their story is completely different from yours. It's completely different from mine. And so their success obviously is going to be different than mine, or the speed of their success is going to be different from mine. Maybe their niche is different than mine. And so that's having an impact. All of those things come into play. But the bottom line is it's their story and it's their version of it, not mine. So why should I even care about that? And again, these are the things that I have to continue to just tell myself. Next, I think you have to put value on making that incremental progress and making those small things. Celebrate the small wins, basically, is what it comes down to. And if that small win is, oh, hey, I figured out a new way to do whatever, a new edit, a new like transition in the edit, a new whatever, or I figured out this thing on how to make my camera work better. I don't know, whatever it is. Or, hey, this one did get more views. Or, hey, I got some actually good like engagement and good comments on this video, or I got a lot of likes on that video. Celebrate those things instead of the things that didn't happen. Next, I have to keep learning. I have to keep growing. I have to keep like being adaptable throughout this journey based on feedback that I get from people, based on like comments and things that people say, based on my own growth. I have to be able to adapt and change over time and hopefully get better over time. And the only way that you can do that is to like listen to what people are telling you and also listen to your heart as to what that's telling you. I mean, next, the main thing I think to really kind of keep in mind, or not the main thing, because we're going to get to that. There's one at the very end that's probably for me the most helpful, but for this, yeah, it's one of the main things. YouTube is the long game. It's not short-term wins. It's not even about one video going viral. One video going viral is great, and when it happens, it's amazing. I've had it in my other channel. It was awesome and cool and whatever. But that's not the whole goal. That's not the end game of this thing. It's a long game, and it's about your consistency over time. Keeping that in mind kind of can keep you a little bit centered when it comes to seeing other people's growth. Next, instead of using these other people as kind of a yardstick to your own success, use them for inspiration in a positive way. And I'm not saying copy them one for one and, do exactly what other people are doing. Don't do that, because that's hacky and nobody likes that person. But use them for inspiration. If they do a video and you watch that video and you go, okay, you know what? I could do it better. I have better information. I maybe have done that thing longer than they're talking about or whatever. Maybe I have a different perspective on it that I could bring to the table. Use it for that kind of an inspiration to help you figure out what your next video should be, or what the next thing you talk about should be, without actually like just using them as a way to see how am I stacking up against them, because that's not the way to go. And really, at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to the biggest thing is remembering that somebody else's success doesn't mean my failure. Like, this is not a zero-sum game. This is not, YouTube is not a thing where there's one winner and one loser. And if they're getting the views and they're getting the clicks and they have all these subscribers, then that means there's nothing left for me. That's not the way that this works. So I have to constantly remind myself that just because somebody else is having success, good for them. I mean, be successful, instead of looking at it as, well, they've taken all the success and now there's nothing left for me. So I think those things maybe will help me. And if all else fails, and if none of those things actually help me, then there's always kind of the end option, which is just stop watching YouTube altogether and stop watching those people. And then my blood pressure will go up and I'll feel much better about myself. I mean, the bottom line is, if I don't stop doing this, it is going to negatively impact my mental health. In fact, it's already kind of started doing that, which is why I made this video in the first place. So I definitely need to make some changes there. And there's another thing that I need to make some changes on, probably, when it comes to my mental health. And another thing that can negatively impact your mental health, and that's YouTube analytics. And we're going to talk about that in the next video right here, just as soon as I get it ready to go out. And if you do want to come along on the journey, you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.